When Nintendo threw the Link's Awakening remake in our faces, most people wept with tears of joy, especially my dumpling ass. But then, like 5 minutes later, retailers such as Best Buy, Walmart, Funcoland, and Circuit City started taking pre-orders at 60 cold hard American dollars. And the question of whether or not Link's Awakening is worth $60 is kind of a complicated issue. However, the more pressing matter at hand isn't necessarily just the price of this one game, it's what the price means for the future of budget gaming in general. And I know the eShop's always gonna have indie games for like $1, but games on Nintendo's handhelds have historically always been more on the simplistic side while still offering an A+ experience. And while I am glad that Link's Awakening proves that these types of games are still gonna exist, it's still sad that the prices to these kinds of games are gonna get jacked up now that Nintendo's handheld's viewed as more of a home console. But is there hope for quality first-party Nintendo games ever being $40 again? Well, take a load off, thank your mom for not telling your dad about the skid mark she found in your laundry, press the subscribe button if you haven't already, and allow me, the heavily disputed champion of the world, Cameron, to try and figure out if Link's Awakening's really worth $60, and if the Nintendo Switch killed high-quality $40 games forever. First and foremost, let's address the first question of whether or not Link's Awakening DX is really worth $60. And, well, it's really just a matter of opinion, and it's kinda hard to say at this point since nobody's actually played it. But my initial reaction was that it shouldn't be $60 since there's a good chance that its development was started on the 3DS. Don't get me wrong though, I don't have a problem with the graphics or anything, because even Link's Ditto face is a non-issue when it's confirmed that there's still a place in the world for linear 2D Zelda, but I'm highly doubtful that this game's gonna be as good as A Link Between Worlds. And even if it's just as good or even a little bit better, it's still the same kind of Zelda game, so the fact that it's gonna cost $20 more feels a little lame. Although the more I think about it, the fact remains that along with millions of other people, I know for sure I'm gonna buy it and most likely have a great time. So if millions of us are gonna agree to Nintendo's terms, then can we honestly say that it's not worth $60? Besides, A Link to the Past was a 2D Zelda game that cost full retail price on the Super Nintendo, and nobody questions for a second when 2D Mario games cost $60 on home consoles either. Except when it's a Wii U port, but that's an entirely different story. Shy Guy's got you covered there. Despite brand new 2D Mario games being $60 on home consoles though, they were still only $40 on handhelds despite being the exact same kinds of games. To be fair, the handheld 2D Mario games weren't as good, but that's because New Super Mario Bros. On the DS was the first in the series, while the 3DS game tried something asinine with the coin gimmick. So they weren't inferior because of weaker hardware or anything like that. And high-definition games being more expensive to make might explain why 2D Mario games cost more on home consoles. But the Wii wasn't even HD, and the New Super Mario Bros. Game on that was still $60. Aside from the 2D Mario games though, there's Super Mario 3D Land being $40 on the 3DS versus the exact same kind of game, Mario 3D World, being $60 on the Wii U. Which is another reason why I love the 3DS so much, and a huge reason why the Wii U failed that nobody seems to talk about. What I'm referring to is that the Wii U came out at a point in time where technology in gaming was advanced enough to where handheld games no longer meant compromising quality. And before you spank me in the comments with the Vita's failure, just remember how much memory cards for that cost. I'm not saying Wii U games weren't a little better than similar games on the 3DS, but the main reason for that in most cases is because the Wii U got sequels, and as everybody knows, video game sequels are almost always better as opposed to the movies. So since Mario Kart 8 added a little more over 7, it might be an ass hair better, but Smash 4 was co-developed for the 3DS and Wii U, so aside from a handful of stages, the two games are the exact same thing. So because people were buying the cheaper and portable Nintendo games that were every bit as good as the ones you can only play at home, it just made sense for Nintendo to merge the two together, cause not only do they not have to split development teams up anymore, but they could also get away with charging $60 for every game, even if it's more simplistic like Link's Awakening. But is it really okay for the below oversized end to do that? I mean, after getting so many amazing 3DS games for $40, it kinda stings a little bit knowing that a remake of a Game Boy game is gonna cost $60 on the Switch. But Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were $60 remakes of Game Boy games as well, and nobody complained about those. Well, they complained, but just for different reasons. To be fair though, those games were at least 3D, whereas Link's Awakening is gonna be from a top-down perspective. But the bottom line is that the game's still gonna be a heck of a mess of fun, and hopefully Nintendo adds enough to the game to make the 60 bones less noticeable. Even if there's not that much extra content though, I loved the original Link's Awakening, and I'm sure that I'm gonna get more than enough out of the remake to justify $60. And even though A Link Between Worlds was only $40, it still oozed enough quality that it could have been worth $60 had it come out for the Wii U instead. So I think 60 seems crazy because unlike Mario, 2D Zelda was considered a handheld thing for such a long time. And as I've said a million times in this video, handheld games have always been $40. So we're just used to $40 being the standard price for 2D Zelda games. But since the Switch is considered a home console, it looks like first-party Nintendo games are always going to be $60 from this point on, even if they are a little more simplistic. But as long as the quality's there, then I'm okay with that. I know it seems weird that a remake of a Game Boy game is going to cost just as much as a 3D Zelda game with as much effort put into it as Breath of the Wild, though. After all, it'd be like a restaurant charging the same for french fries as they would a prime cut of horse steak. 2D Zelda may be an incredible snack, but compared to 3D Zelda, it is still a snack. So I do understand why it feels weird for a Link's Awakening to be $60. But this really isn't anything new. New Super Mario Bros. Wii probably took a fraction of the effort to make as the two Mario Galaxy games, and not only were all three of those games the same price, but New Super Mario Bros. Wii outsold both Mario Galaxy games combined. So if 2D Mario proved that simpler games could sell at full price, does that really mean that quality first-party Nintendo games costing $40 are a thing of the past? Well, as I'm sure people have already mentioned in the comments by now, there is Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker to give us hope, and there was even Ultimate NES Remix only costing $30 on the Wii U, but even though I like both of those games, they kinda felt like side projects. If 2D Zelda games are like an order of fries, then I consider those two games to be like brownies or something, which is fine, but Treasure Tracker and NES Remix don't compare to games like Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, Kid Icarus Uprising, Fire Emblem Awakening, or even Pikmin. And to be honest, I'm surprised they even got physical releases at all. I'm sure Nintendo would have loved to have had Treasure Tracker be $60 on the Switch, but after they tried pulling a fast one charging $60 for the Switch port of Tropical Freeze, despite it only being $50 when it was launched on the Wii U, people got pissed, and Nintendo realized they can't pull that shit with Treasure Tracker, especially when it was also on the 3DS. So aside from minigame compilations, it looks like first-party Nintendo games are really gonna be $60 from now on, and it's for that very reason why dedicated handhelds are going away in the first place. But as long as we don't lose more traditional and simplistic games like 2D Zelda, for instance, then paying a little bit more for these games is a sacrifice I'm willing to make, because it also means we can bring full-fledged console experiences with us on the go. Not to mention we're saving a little money not having to buy two separate platforms anymore, so, you know, there is that. But you know what else there is? The two patrons of the day, David Jones and Jason, who I'd gladly choose to be a part of my Little League team thanks to how badass they are. If you want to join these two legends, then consider supporting this channel on Patreon for loot boxes and Polaroids in the mail. And if you pick up one of our shirts or mugs that are guaranteed to land you a hot date, then you can make cameos in our video doing whatever you want by simply sending us pictures or videos of you rocking it like these badasses right here. What do you think about games that could have been on the 3DS costing $60 though? Do you think it's bullshit? Or do you not mind as long as they're made with quality? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, my mustard ass will pin whatever I find most entertaining or intriguing. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell to see more videos like this. And if you want to help this channel grow, then simply liking and sharing goes a long way. My name's Cameron, and I'll see you next time.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty, thank you for your support.